I'm Justin Davis, and this is Drone Camps RC.
What's up, my friends? Welcome back to the Drone Camps channel. Today I have a first look and review, full flight review, and overview of the Gep RC Cinnalog 25. So they're going for the full cinema inspiration here with this quad, but the good news is that this one will not only cinema, it will also freestyle on a 4S configuration. And the starting price point on this one is around $179 for the analog version. And as you guys know before watching my channel, I always tell you the truth about these reviews. We look at the camera footage itself. We're not gonna show you the GoPro footage because that would kind of be cheating because we have Hyper Smooth on GoPro. I'm gonna show you the Nebula Pro on this one. This one is the Pro version, which is around, I believe, around $279. There is a cheaper version. I believe it's around $219, and then the cheapest one around $179. But they all support decased GoPros or the Beta FPV SMO 4K camera, which is one of mine favorite and my choices for this type of setup if I was gonna do full professional cinema work with this quad. It's also pretty fast. For what it is, flying in acro mode, this quad moves out on a 4S 850, and this little guy is not only top components and top shelf components on here from Gep RC, it's also one of those quads that has duality. It can freestyle and it can do cinema. So this is one of those quads where they got things right. There's not a lot of washout and tumble. And they also added in something extra special in this design that I'm gonna show you when we get back from the flight test. So let's go ahead and strap a 4S 850 on this one and go out and do some flying. And best of all, again, with these 2.5 cinema whoops is that it's under 250 grams with the 4S 850, guys. So yeah, we've got a lot of good stuff going on here with this one. We're safe under the 250 gram mark, and it will cinema and freestyle. So I'm pretty happy with this one. And I have to report back to you that the tune is really good on here as always. We're rocking the Gep F420 amp 4-in-1 AIO flight controller on here, and we just did a build with that one on the channel a couple days ago. So here we are again flying that same flight controller, which is great stock tune out of the box in beta flight. All over again, it's like deja vu in a smaller format. So I'm happy with this one. But let's go ahead and do some flying, and then after that we'll come back in, take a little closer look at the Cinnalog from Gep RC. Another very good release and possible home run from Gep RC. Here we go, guys. You be the judge. All right, guys, there it is, the Cinelog 25 HD Pro running a 4S 850. It does have a battery mount that goes from the side just like that, and the strap that comes along with this guy is big enough to accommodate the 450 size battery, the 650 and the 850. So if you want to fly this a little more on the freestyle side of things, you can run a 450 on here and you can still get, you know, the average 3-minute flight time, 3.5 minutes. If you decide you want to get a longer flight time, but you still want to kind of be able to freestyle a little bit, you can run a 550 or even a 650 milliamp battery running 4S. I really enjoy the 4S 850 on here for kind of a long range flight. I did fly it on the DJI controller, and you can do either TBS Crossfire Nano RX on here, you can do the FrSky RXSR on here, or you can also get it without a receiver. I think the price point is over $300 for the Crossfire Nano version. On the website, without receiver, it is around $299 if you go the full-blown Pro version. So if you want to cut costs and you don't have DJI goggles, get the cheaper one for $179. Now, originally I thought this one was around $279, but I was mistaken. So you can check out the micro version of this one is $279. So the Pro version is $299 and the analog $179. So this one has the Caddx Vista on the very bottom, and they do give you a little tiny cable that goes along with this to be able to get to the Vista on the very bottom. So if you look under here, there is an access point, and it's not a lot of room underneath there, just like all of these designs, but it is not hard to get to it because of the cable that they give you. So they do give you a cable that can get you in there and get you inside Betaflight without a lot of fuss. But I think the biggest difference between this one and some of the other Cinewhoops out there in this category is the fact that I want you guys to look up front here and tell me if you notice anything different about this one. Yes, there is the wire sticking out for powering your external GoPro. That's already set up for you, or your SMO 4K. That's pretty sweet. We would like to see that standard on all of these Cinewhoops that come out. But beyond that, what else do you see here that's different? Well, they have this platform here, which is usually dampened straight to the frame and supporting only the camera that's above it. And that's my original mount for my camera, which I broke because I crashed. And it separated in those two spots right there. So that was one downfall of the mount itself. They might have to go back and rethink how they have that supported. So that's one bummer about it, but we do honest reviews so that you get to see and hear about that information. But beyond that, did you notice that this Nebula Pro is suspended? Check that out. It's actually a part of this mount that goes down to the frame here. So the FPV camera is actually suspended and dampened as well. So mounted to this whole entire unit here. You can see that all move together. That's epic because that reduces a ton of jello and vibration straight to your main camera. So if you're only recording DJI digital video back to your DJI goggles in 50 megabit, then that's great. That's great for you because you can get away with doing some pretty nice videos. And again, the Cinelog, it is a hybrid style frame. You can see this one's kind of cut shorter in the front versus some of the other ones go sort of the full X. And so this camera is pushed back. The arms don't come past the camera. There is no props in view whatsoever for the main camera view. And we have longer arms on the very back there. So we've got this piece that comes up to the front, and it's kind of doubled up front. It makes these arms a little beastier if you go in for a crash. And again, the Gep stuff generally has better carbon fiber than some of the other bind and flies out there. They just do. They have beveled edges. They have more refined carbon fiber. It's usually 3K carbon fiber versus eSheen quality carbon fiber. So, and the components on here just seem to work out better for me in the long run as well. So we do have that GEP RC 20 amp all-in-one flight controller in here, and we just look right under here and you'll see those wires coming out the back right there. You can see the USB port that is accessible. You can get to it there. It almost looks like that prop guard is in the way, but it's not. I was able to get my USB cable in there and no problem. So again, we have inverted motors, and these are kind of hard for me to see in this lighting, but we have GEP RC 1204 motors, and these were 3750 kV, I believe. I'll get a good close-up for you guys. See if I can come back around there. There we go. So let me flip that over for you and show you a little closer up. 1204. We get the light just right so you can see the kV. And go ahead and zoom in there for you. 1204. And just take my word for it, 3750 kV. SpeedX branded with gold bottoms. Super nice looking motors. And the biggest benefit, honestly, for an inverted quad like this is the fact that all this airflow is not being obstructed by the frame. So that's really nice because you get a nice clean flying quad. And this is also rocking the Gemfan 5-blade props on here. And even though they're 5 blades, the quad is really quiet because you don't have the extra noise of the airflow going through the frame. So this makes it really quiet, and it makes it better indoor flyer as well. So when I'm flying around indoors, it does great indoors. So it's just a more stable drone. And ever since I had my original Drone Camp store, Horizon Hobby sent me a few sort of family-friendly quads that had inverted motors on them. I think it was called I believe it was called the Blade Nano years ago now. So that Nano series was really nice. They were ultra light and they had the inverted motors, and they just really had a nice stable hover. And this has the same feel to it with all the extra power of the 1204s on here. Just freaking awesome. I also think that GEP's prop guards are gonna prove to be more durable than some of the other ones. They look ultra beastie in here. They have 2 strut supports on all of the 3 strut supports you see here. And you can't really see that one because it's underneath the carbon frame there, but they have 3 main strut and then 2 strut support here. And they just look a little thicker than some of the other ones I've seen. And they lightened it up by shaving it off a little bit there. But it did bounce. I did crash it. It also has the EVA foam bumpers on the outside, which also dampen it when you crash. And my flight time was respectively between like 6 minutes and 8 minutes, depending on how I was flying. If you have a windy, super windy day, then you're probably gonna have a shorter flight time, 5 to 6 minutes with an 850. But to get some brand new 850s and you will be good to go. Now, this quad again on the scale here, let's put it on the scale so you can see it. 130.8 grams. And I don't have my 850 here, but putting the 4S 850 on the scale earlier was getting me up to around 230 grams. So that is going to be questionable for putting your SMO 4K or your D-Case GoPro on there. Generally those weigh in around 30 grams. So if you want to get this one under 250 with your action cam on top and your extra TPU mount there, you're probably going to have to run the 4S 850 to get it under 250 grams. And that's probably the best way to do that if you're really strictly wanting to go by what the FAA is requiring for non-registered drones. But overall, I like it. We've got that same, I believe that was the Momoda antenna in the very back there, running down to the Vista. And it looks like we have a pretty beastie TPU mount back there. It is fairly thick and robust, and the antenna is a little shorter than some of the other ones I've seen stick up way high. So that's kind of good for if you're going in for a heavy crash. But doesn't this thing look cool? I mean, the design on this one is really the best thing is that this front camera is dampened. Thicker prop guards here. They are replaceable. You can get extra frame parts from Gep, and that is ultra cool. So that smooths things out a lot. I've had some real issues with vibrations from some of these Cinewhoops in the past. So it's nice that this one, like most of the Gep stuff that I get, comes out of the box ready to bind up. And the Vista is all wired up to the flight controller properly, so that if you have a DJI radio, you can fly it and bind up to it with your DJI radio, because they didn't just throw the power on there without hooking up the rest of the wires. I've had some other bind and flies like that came with a Vista that just wasn't all the way wired up. And that was kind of annoying, so I had to go back and do it myself. So Gep's done that for you guys. And you know, they have an XT30 on here. We've got it under 250G. It flies good, it freestyles, it cinemas. And overall, I'm happy with this one. I think the Cinelog series, it's gonna be a higher quality type of experience than what you're gonna get with the 95X series, the newest one. And you're probably gonna have more reliable gear on this one. Gep RC just keeps coming through with like quality gear, and you can call me a fanboy of Gep RC, but guys, I've been flying Gep RC since well over 5 years now, and I've had literally 2 different experiences with Gep RC where they sent me something that I had to like fix to fly. And recently I've had some other companies send me things. I've had 3 different quads get sent to me from a company who I will not name right now, but you guys have a good idea of who they are. And I have had to request components that were complete failures, and one of them caused me to crash in the middle of the road and scratch my Insta360 lens, which Insta360 was nice enough to send me a new one, but man, the unreliability factor of some of the bind and flies out there are pretty big. So that's something to take in consideration. And again, like with Gep, I'm rarely ever dealing with that. So that's a good thing. Reliability is huge. So, you know, 179, if you already have analog goggles, get the 179 version. And I don't know what camera it is on there, but I believe it's like the Runcam Micro or something like that. But I'll put the link down below. You guys can check out your options. If you already have DJI goggles, go for the Nebula Pro version, hands down. Go ahead and spend the $300 on that and have a nice experience. But this one would do fly through for real estate. It would do backyard flying awesome with this killer camera. And it's quiet enough that it's not gonna like totally disturb people at like a local soccer field. It's not as loud as like the 3-inch Cinewhoops. So 3-inch Cinewhoops are more for like big fields and sending them out there a little bit. But this guy, you know, with the flight time, you can send this one out there over a mile out too, and have some fun with some range flying with TBS Nano RX on there. So you have that option as well. So short range or long range, this guy is awesome. Indoor or outdoor, a total like thumbs up on the channel for the Cinelog. I love this series quad, and I've been waiting for weeks for Banggood to go ahead and put up the purchase link for you guys, because this guy has been under the radar the whole entire Chinese New Year, and finally I'm able to get this review out for you guys and give you an honest look and opinion on this quad and what I really think about it. I think that this one out of the box did better than a lot of the other ones. So yeah, Gep keeps pushing the bar, and they get their stuff right before they send it out to me, which is huge. Some of this other stuff is still like in beta phase, and you know, Emax and Gep seem to be the companies that keep sending me stuff ready to go without big problems. And that means that the boxes that are coming to you from the factory have also already been well researched. They've done all the R&D. So that's awesome. But thanks again for watching this review, guys. Cinelog series from Gep is looking pretty good. So take care, guys, and please do subscribe on the channel. I've got more epic reviews coming up for you. I got another new release from Gep RC coming up this week, so stay tuned. We got some really cool video coming up for you. I'm Justin Davis, guys. Take care. Please do subscribe on the channel, and I will bring you more awesome drone reviews. I'll see you on the next one.